Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to absolutely master 25 really important words from WordSmart's List 16. Nailing these words is going to give you a huge advantage on your tests, so let's get right into it. So to make these words way easier to learn and actually remember, we've sorted them into 5 simple groups. This way you can see how they're all connected. All right, let's dive into our first group. These words are all about communication. You know, the different ways people express their thoughts using words, body language, and emotions. Okay, so here we have 3 very different ways people express themselves. First up, grandiloquent. You know that person who always uses huge, complicated words just to sound super smart? That's being grandiloquent. Then there's histrionic. This is for someone who is super dramatic about everything, almost like they're acting in a play. And finally, to gesticulate. This one's easy. It just means you use your hands a lot when you talk. Now, this is a really good comparison to remember. What's the difference here? Well, being grandiloquent is a whole style of speaking, right? It's a way of being. But hyperbole is just a tool. It's a specific trick you can use to exaggerate, like when you say, "I've told you 1,000,000 times." So, a homily, what's that? Think of it like a long, serious speech that's supposed to teach you a lesson about how to be a good person. You might hear one in a church, but you could also get a homily from your parents about why it's important to tell the truth. The main idea is it's a moral lesson. Okay, let's move into our next section. Here, we've got words that are perfect for describing different kinds of people, what they're like, how they act, and even their luck. Here we've got 2 personality types that are pretty much complete opposites. A genteel person is very polite, very refined, and kind of fancy. You might say aristocratic. But a gregarious person, totally different. They're super friendly, outgoing, and just love being around other people. They're the life of the party. All right, let's break these 3 down. A hapless person is just unlucky. It seems like bad things are always happening to them. Someone who uses guile, well, they're tricky. They use cleverness and deceit to fool people. And a person who believes in hedonism thinks that feeling good and having pleasure is the most important thing in life. So it's really important to get this. Guile isn't just telling a simple lie. Oh no, it's a whole plan. It's a strategy. Someone using guile might act like your best friend to earn your trust, but really they're just trying to trick you to get something they want. Okay, moving on to our third group. These words are about big ideas, the systems we create to organize stuff like art, society, and even power. These 3 words are all about how we create order. Genre is how we sort creative things. Think about movie genres like comedy, horror, or sci-fi. Hierarchy is a ranking system for people, like in a company where you have the CEO at the top, then managers, then employees. And hegemony, that's about power between countries, where one country is dominant or has a lot of influence over others. Whoa. Okay, heresy is a really strong word. It's not just a small disagreement. A heresy is a belief that goes completely against the official, accepted rules of a group, especially a religion. It's seen as a dangerous and unacceptable idea by the people in charge. And here is the most famous example ever. Back in the day, everyone believed the Earth was the center of the universe. So when Galileo came along and said, "Actually, the Earth revolves around the sun," that was considered heresy. His idea was a dangerous challenge to the official belief system. This one's pretty simple. Homogeneous just means everything is the same. It's uniform. Think about a carton of milk after you shake it. Every drop is the same. That's homogeneous. Or you could talk about a neighborhood where every single house looks exactly the same. All right, on to our 4th category. This one is all about judging things. Is there too much of something? Is an idea boring? How well are you managing your stuff? So these 3 words, glut, grandiose, and gratuitous, they all mean too much, but in very different ways. A glut is too much supply, like if there's a glut of oranges at the supermarket. Grandiose describes a plan or an idea that is way too big and unrealistic. And gratuitous means something is unnecessary and just extra, usually in a bad way, like gratuitous violence in a movie that doesn't help the story at all. Okay, pay close attention here because this is a classic mix-up. Remember grandiloquent? That's about using fancy words. But grandiose is about big, exaggerated ideas or plans. So a person might use grandiloquent speech to describe their grandiose plan to become king of the world. See the difference? You know those phrases you hear so often they just become meaningless and boring? Like, think outside the box. That's a hackneyed phrase. It's been used so much that it's lost all its originality and power.
Now, husbandry can be a little tricky because it has two main meanings that seem totally unrelated. First, it can mean the careful, thrifty management of your resources, like being really good with your money. But it also means farming, raising animals. So what's the connection? The key idea is careful management, whether you're managing a farm or a bank account.
And here we are, our final section. We're on the home stretch. These last few words are all about time, signals, moods, and being isolated from the world. I like this slide because it almost tells a story. It starts with a harbinger, which is a sign of something that's about to happen. For example, the first red leaves are a harbinger of autumn. Then you have the heyday, which is the absolute peak of success or popularity, the golden age. And after that, you might have a hiatus, which is just a temporary break or a pause. So we all know the scientific meaning of gravity, right? The force that keeps our feet on the ground. But it has a second, really important meaning. It can also mean seriousness. If a situation has gravity, it means it's extremely serious and important. A world leader might speak with great gravity during a crisis. Hermetic. Think about a jar of jam from the store. It has a hermetic seal, meaning it's perfectly airtight so nothing can get in or out. But we also use this word to describe a person or a lifestyle that's totally isolated from the outside world. A writer who never leaves their house could be living a hermetic life. And that's a wrap. You did an awesome job. But listen, the only way to really make these words stick is to start using them. So I have a challenge for you. Now that you've learned 25 new words, which one are you going to use first? Thanks so much for joining me.